I just want to mention that I am also the executive producer of the live webcast, so I have a lot of power. It's going to be, the camera will be zooming in on me on a tight close-up throughout the whole thing.
That's okay. Just to see me, they actually have to kind of zoom back and put a wide-angle lens on. So they should be zooming on you anyway. First of all, Shilksa, thank you so much for coming. If I seem to kind of devolve into being a bit of a fanboy here, it's because I am. For those of you who don't know, Shilksa is a filmmaker and an educator who, even though she was born and raised in Singapore, has a deep passion for China, for Greater China, and has done a remarkable series of documentary films for and about China. The one, of course, that most of us remember is the one that she did around the Olympics, which generated an awful lot of buzz and excitement, and we all had fun watching. But to me, when I look at somebody like you who has produced programs for the Discovery Channel, who has interviewed people from around the region, who has won, Asian TV awards and all of this, I look at you and I think to myself, wow, after Boomtown Beijing, here is one of Asia's generation of great filmmakers. You've got a great future ahead as a filmmaker, or as an educator even, and teaching a whole new generation of young filmmakers. What made you decide to change direction and to start creating branded content and create branded content even for online video?
It was very funny because I've actually been working on this venture for about 9-10 months, and but I only updated my LinkedIn profile very recently, maybe in the past, I think a month ago or something. And one of my friends, since my super social-friendly, savvy, social network-friendly friend, said to me, "Xiu, 你终于下海了." As in Chinese, 下海 means to actually become commercial, to actually go into the ocean. And my response is, 我一直生在海中. As in, I've always been in the ocean. I'm born in the ocean. I guess the very interesting shift here is not perhaps a personal shift, but rather a shift in the perception of me. I think when I first came to China three years ago, I did an independent film called Boomtown Beijing, and therefore everyone in China thinks that I'm an indie filmmaker. I have this really big announcement to make today, which is I'm not an indie filmmaker. So please tweet and tell everyone I'm not an indie filmmaker. And the reason I say I'm not an indie filmmaker is because I actually have a career as a commercial TV producer, which is I work for Discovery Channel. I was the supervising producer for projects in China and Taiwan. And Discovery Channel is a great brand. It is a commercial entity, and it is one of the first cable channels that make documentaries a commercially viable kind of program genre. So in some sense, when you perceive that shift to online video or branded content, it's not true in the sense that I've always done it. I've executive produced travel shows, cooking shows, documentaries. So in essence, I'm actually more like a creative director, editorial editor-in-chief kind of person. So that's a disclaimer out there. Yeah. Good question, though.
There are, well, good. I'm glad.
And very long answer.
I'm glad we got that clarification of your role out in the open, because especially for those of us who follow you on Twitter, I mean, this is the impression we get. Branded content we've been talking about branded content now in China for at least 10 years as a really great idea, and there have been some very good examples of branded content, but very few good examples of branded content. It hasn't happened for whatever reason. What are you doing now to kind of close that gap between branded content is the idea of tomorrow and branded content is the idea of today?
I think it's interesting because there is definitely a gap in terms of I think what's happening globally or in the US and what's happening in China. I think we're currently, I think to take a step backwards, most people don't know what Nguyen is. That's our consumer-facing brand. It has a lot of videos about action sports, indie music, youth culture. It's very hip and happening. Nothing that you ever associate with me, but nonetheless, I'm producing the content. And you can produce all sorts of content once you have the skills. Whether it's a travel show or action sports show, it's the same thing. And I think in terms of your question about branded content, there is a huge gap between what's happening in the US and what's happening in China. For instance, one of the latest projects we've taken on is actually a project for Intel called the Creators Project, where we have 72 short films about creators who use technology for creativity. And the videos are being viewed on Youku and Tudou and being promoted through the social media platforms. And the branding on that project is so subtle that it's just like a 3-second lead into the thing. And the logo is this big. The Intel logo is only this big. And that's something that is still difficult for brands in China to accept, because they want you to wear their T-shirt, have a big board at the back,
big logos,
big logo at the back, hold my product in front, if you're doing I guess mineral water thing, you want. So I think that subtlety and that softness of the branding is still something that is rare in China. But I think therein lies the opportunity, because I feel that there's a gap that has to be crossed. And one reason why the gap has to be crossed is because the old way of branding and advertising no longer works. The reason is because if you're trying to reach anyone under the age of 30, they are not going to watch your 30 seconds of commercial, that spot that you buy on TV. They're going to watch something that they think is content, is a nice short film, something that's subtle, and with accumulation of, let's say, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 videos, the brand becomes part of their subconscious. They don't even know that they've imbibed the content. So, to give you an example of myself, I have always worked as a TV producer. And the funny thing was that since I've come to Beijing, I've been here on and off for about 3 years, I've only watched TV twice. I'm a TV producer, I've only watched TV twice. The first time, I have actually moved into my apartment for about 9 months. The very first time I wanted to switch on my TV was because of the May 12th earthquake in Sichuan. And suddenly I thought, oh yeah, I should watch TV because I want to watch the news about the news break about the earthquake. And then I was thinking, where's the plug for my TV set? Because I haven't even, after moving in for 9 months, I haven't even plugged in my TV. I've always watched my videos online. And the second time I watched TV was during the Beijing Olympics. Again, I felt that I should watch TV at that point. The third time might be the World Cup, but I don't know. But I have not watched TV since. And this story is a long-winded way of saying that the way that people watch, appreciate content, and the way has changed fundamentally. And the old way of reaching people in terms of branding and advertising no longer works. So it's true that there have been very few examples of very successful branded content campaigns, but now is the time, because now is the way that that kind of softer approach, more subtle approach that's cumulative works. And branding is about storytelling. If you talk about the theme, I'm trying to have a running theme across my career, which is that whether it's an indie film or Discovery Channel documentaries, or whether it's an online video or a series of branded kind of content, the theme is that you have to tell a great story. You have to bring people along. You have to create a sense of us, that it's not you and me, you versus me, but that we are in it together. So
we're reaching a stage where unfortunately we've got two events that are happening at the same time in the advertising world, if you will, in the marketing world. The first event is, yes, the old ways of working are no longer working. Okay, we now know that. But the second problem is this. The decisions about where to spend the money for a branding campaign or a branding process aren't all made by the chief marketing officers. They're now increasingly made by people who spend their day staring at spreadsheets, and sharpening their pencils and worrying about budgets. And they're asking, where's my ROI? And so the M word, which on the internet is monetization, but in advertising is measurement. How can a brand measure the impact of a campaign like this if it is so subtle that it's almost subliminal?
Subliminal.
Almost subliminal.
Almost. It's a very good question, and I think that I think somehow it's a chain. It's kind of like a value chain, and because I'm currently doing this project for Intel, there's a lot of emphasis on measurement, and I think that new ways of measuring will be kind of created, and the more that the tools are out there, the more that people try to measure it, the more I think gradually accepted norms in terms of measurement will emerge. So I think a lot of them are from the kind of the internet kind of convention, like unique views, video views, things like that. So I think that it's something that will evolve and emerge. I think what you're saying, I think really hinting at is really the fact that you have to educate. Everyone knows that it's true that nobody really watch. Well, most people a lot of people watch their videos online, but they don't know how to prove to their bosses that it matters, that the money is being spent the right way. So I think the gap has to be crossed, but I think wherever there's a gap, there's an opportunity for an entrepreneur. Where there's a problem where people have not crossed the chasm yet, if you can cross it faster, if you can be more persuasive, if you could actually have one fine example of a very concerted effort to put the branded content out there, I think then that you're slightly ahead of the curve, which is much better news than if I were to still be working on linear, traditional TV now. So I sensed the opportunity a year ago, and what we're experiencing now in terms of projects and in terms of inquiries prove that intuitive sense is correct.
Okay, great. One last question, and then we have to wrap it up because
sure.
we're very time constrained.
I'm very hungry too.
Yeah, and we've got one more, and I don't want to shortchange our next interview either because she's going to offer a very different sort of perspective on advertising. This seems like a business that anybody could get into with a video camera and a Macintosh and a good pitch. What are you doing to make sure that you're not overwhelmed by Me Too competitors? Taking from Kaiser's point that this is the copy to China environment. What are you doing to make sure that you aren't just copied out of business?
I think that I'm often asked that question. I think not just about this business, but when I have an idea for a film, and I think that the answer is that the execution of the idea is actually very difficult. Because for this model to work, it's more than making videos. It's actually creating very high-level content. Because in terms of, and also it involves a whole web of partnerships strategic partnerships with video sharing sites and social network. So the execution of it is actually much, much harder. And I think as I learn more and more about social media and online video, it's very, very, very hard work and it's very labor intensive to make a video go viral. People talk about it as though it's going to happen with, it's so easy, I'm just going to go online, upload a video, and it's going to go viral. It's very labor intensive, it's very hard work, and especially if you want to do it professionally, to have consistent results. To have a one-hit wonder is not difficult, but to reproduce that result, which is what a business has to do, which is what a professional creative has to do, is immensely difficult. And therefore, I think that the entry barrier is much higher than most people think it is.
Great. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Suk Tan from Neo Runku. Thank you. So our next and final speaker for the morning